You're listening to the AV-IT Amplifier. Each week, we'll feature voices and ideas that need to be amplified in the higher education and pro-AV IT communities. This show is brought to you by higheredav.com. And now here's your host, Ryan Gray.
Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in again to the AV-IT Amplifier. As always, my name is Ryan Gray, and I am your host, and I'm about to lie to you with the next line of my opening, which is, if it is Wednesday, you know your feed is refreshed with new content, because I think that hasn't been true for 2 of the last 3 Wednesdays. But things have been a little busy, and, I'll apologize to everyone individually later, but we are fixing that this week. So, a special episode for you today as we take a look back at one of the things that has made the last couple of weeks so busy, and that is our experience with HETMA and Higher Ed AV out at ISE in Barcelona. And today I have 2 people on the show that actually haven't been on the show before. So 2 first-timers, which is fun, and first-time folks heading out to Barcelona. So I'll let you gents introduce yourself. First off, Mr. Dustin Myers, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. Much better than I was last week. Barcelona was not gentle to me.
No. And I would say the last time I saw Dustin in person, I think it was about 2:30 in the morning, and him going, I am supposed to leave for the damn airport at 5 a.m. and you still have the laptop I need to get back with me. When are you bringing that thing over? Oh my God, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm on my way right now. So thank you for rolling with that, Dustin. Well, Dustin, what do you do in normal life when you're not traversing the world?
By day, I am the manager of technology support at John A. Logan College. And by night, I am the approved program chair for HETMA.
All right, good deal. Thank you for that. And alongside you today is Mr. Troy Powers. Troy, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And what does your day and night job look like?
So I work for Northwestern University, just north of Chicago. I run the support team for Central IT. We oversee all of the university-owned classrooms, and then another couple hundred through service level agreements. And then I build furniture, and I am on the executive board for HETMA.
All right. Well, thank you, gents, for joining and being here today. I think when you talk to people who've never been to ISE before, part of it is easy to explain, part of it is difficult to explain. You can say, like, oh, it's a big trade show. It's kind of like Infocomm, but just bigger. But then there's also aspects of it that are totally different. So I'd love to hear, first, your guys' impression going there for the first time and seeing sort of what the experience is like. What did you find similar or easy to explain to other people, and what parts were a little more, challenging or out of the box?
Yeah, I mean, the scope is just, you always hear it's so much bigger and, twice as many people, but like twice as many people doesn't do it justice, it's the scope of the show is just so much bigger. And they just cover all aspects of the industry, just thinking about, that where, Avixa kind of runs Infocomm and we get that pro AV side. I mean, just the residential, the residential side of the industry is all represented there. But beyond that, I mean, just like the esports wing and how big the scope for that one was, compared to what we've seen at other shows. You can't really, you have to see it to believe how much bigger it is. It's hard to explain.
And no, I echo that. There were so many people. It was hard to traverse the floor.
Yeah, there were places and times where, we're, going to get footage, going to talk to somebody here, and it was like, I'm almost throwing elbows to get down some of the aisles there that, because of the total volume of people, almost 86,000, that is kind of crazy. So, I've always liked the feeling that, like, wherever the industry gathers, now HETMA is going to be there, and we're going to, because we want to, advocate for our vertical and bring people together and do that, we're going to show up. It takes a lot for us to be able to do that. So what about, why did you each decide this year when the opportunity came up, or to say no, like, I choose to take vacation or take time away from work to go do this thing? Why is it a worthwhile activity for each of you?
I mean, for me, like, I believe in HETMA and what we're doing. I've been working with HETMA for about almost 5 years now, which seems absolutely crazy to me. And I've personally benefited in my career through my interactions with HETMA, and I just want to see the community continue to grow, and for other people to reap those same benefits. And I think. At the end of the day, that's I believe in HETMA, I believe in what we're doing, and I believe that us expanding out into becoming a more global organization, I think it's important, and I think kind of what we saw in the conversations we had there suggested that we were right, and that they're looking for something like us. So.
Let me throw a follow-up on that, because you mentioned the kinds of conversations we were having there. What are the kinds of conversations that you were having there that couldn't have taken place, at an event in the United States?
Well, it's just different people, right? And I mean, like, honestly, a lot of the conversations that we have had in the United States for the past couple of years are very similar to what we were talking about, in Europe at ISE. So I would say the conversations aren't that much different. It's just there's different people there that we just wouldn't be able to talk to otherwise. Different representatives, so a lot of the conversations we're having with our manufacturer reps, and they were kind of hearing what we were all about. And, I think the hope there is that in the same way that HETMA kind of grew here through word of mouth, in a lot of ways, a lot of cases through our sponsors, like word of mouth from our sponsors, we grew. And I think there's a lot of hope that happens in Europe as well. I think just at the end of the day, the people, different people. There was 80,000 people that we don't see at Infocomm that we had to talk to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. A whole different subset of, the crossover is not as much as you would think. And HETMA is now part of that crossover that comes around. All right, Dustin, how about you? Why is the amount of time that it takes, not only what you do for HETMA, but then to take on this kind of travel, why is that something that you find worthwhile, that you choose to do?
Well, I mean, I agree with Troy. It's a twofold thing. Us getting out there and being able to talk to people and show people, how HETMA has helped me. I've been with the organization for about 4 years now, and the things and the doors that it's opened for me, it's insane. I mean, I come from a small school, and I would not be able to do half the things that I do now if it wasn't for HETMA. And then second side of it, too, is this trade show was actually perfect for me for planning all my summer projects. Infocomm is great, but that's in the middle of my project cycle. Troy and I have talked about this before, and it's prime time to go and look and see all the different products. So that was one of the big selling features for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'll put this in there, which is, I think the number of people in the U.S. who should be considering ISE as a stopping point, it's international. So it seems either out of reach, really expensive, or something like that. It's like, in terms of flight, you guys went through the thing. In terms of travel, hotels, all of that, it is really, especially for someone like me coming, from the West Coast to go to Orlando this year versus going to Spain, it really isn't any more expensive to do, and the timing works so much better. And we see so many product announcements. I was just anecdotally working on a thing that we'll be doing at the end of this calendar year. So it's still a ways out, and we've held off on a lot of the designs for that reason, that we, between relationships and things we knew that were coming that were under NDA, we're holding for future product. And the answer was always, well, this is under wraps, but it'll be featured at ISE. It'll be coming out at ISE. It'll be coming out at ISE. So I'll just throw that question out there. Do you, Dustin from a small school, Troy from a large school, do you think that if it weren't for your involvement in HETMA, how would your institution see just a straight up, hey, this is a place I need to be and I think I should go when it involves international travel?
It's an argument that I've been making. I was making at a state school that I was at before here. I think it's a great show to go to. I think there are two kind of pain points when you're kind of discussing it with leadership that stand out to me. One is because they're not sending all their North American reps and you're not getting all of your kind of North American colleagues out there. Somebody still's got to go to Infocomm because you're not going to get that networking, like the networking, the conversations that you need to have. Like those aren't going to happen at ISE because all your peers just aren't there, and they're probably never going to all be there, right? And then just the optics of sending people to Europe, when everybody else's conference is in Idaho or Georgia, whatever. Nothing wrong with Idaho; it's a beautiful state, right? But it's so the optics are a lot different, sending people, domestically versus internationally. But honestly, the cost is different. Like the cost is honestly, if you're strategic about where you stay and you're not paying a lot for cab fare, it's cheaper. It's cheaper to go there than Vegas or Orlando. And you get, honestly, you're going to get, in terms of networking, you're going to meet with, there's more CEOs there than there are at Infocomm. There's more higher up important people with companies, attend this event than they do that attend Infocomm. There's a big reason to go here. But yeah, like I said, I think you can't get around. You need to go to Infocomm too. So split up the team, take turns, however that needs to work out. But I think both events kind of should be attended, if possible.
And Dustin, how would that be? Troy at Northwestern, you at a small school, me at a small school, like, would you just get laughed out of the building if you put in a travel request for Spain?
I mean, I pretty much did. My CIO looked at me and goes, I don't know if we're going to send you on a European vacation. Luckily, I was able to do it all out of pocket. So it made it worth it. And I think some of the knowledge and some of the stuff that I brought back to show the team may sway their opinion for next year.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a challenge. I've had this conversation. I've been twice now to ISE. The first time I did is a hybrid, right, where we were going out with Higher AV. We did coverage, and that was most of the cost. But I did a travel forum also, and that sort of swayed that. Oh well, we're not actually paying for most of it. This time I just took vacation to and then there was kind of a late plan there. But it is a bit of a thing. Like, even if it is cheaper, even if it does make sense, there is just a feeling that, like you said, a European vacation. Doesn't matter. Anybody feel like we just went on a vacation there? No. Like, it's work. We're on the hustle. We moved. We were tired. You know what I'm saying? That is 16-hour days of things. We didn't travel across the world to go put our feet up. We traveled across the world to be where people were and to have those conversations. But people don't. It's hard to get that part across. So, and I'll throw, I mean, this will seem like a softball question because I'm asking for the answer in it, but I'd like your guys' perspective as we think about the future of HETMA at ISE. And we know that growing in that region is a huge part, right? We're making connections. We want to find the higher ed people. There's not near as many end users at ISE as a percentage as there are at Infocomm. I think there's huge potential and growth there for it to be an end user gathering point, a global end user gathering point. But also the idea that we may be able to pick up the mantle a little of bringing the organic, the product and human information back to people in the United States that just won't ever get the opportunity to do it. So as we haven't really debriefed yet, so I'll throw this out to each of you, and you think forward about 26, 27, 28 for HETMA at ISE, what should it look like, say, 3 years from now?
Bigger, right? We've got a 2-story booth already. We'll just have to ship that thing overseas in a couple of years, right? I mean, that's the hope, that we continue to grow and become the same organization we are in North America and Europe. And I think, the potential is there for sure. And I think we kind of had some bigger ideas this year that, just didn't make sense in the end, right? Being our first time. Hopefully we can kind of think that through and kind of put some of these grander ideas, together for next year. Work with our partners and kind of figure out how that kind of makes sense. But I think, it's important that, we become the destination. I think that's the big difference between Infocomm and ISE is like at Infocomm, when we had our first booth, people knew who we were. People were coming to see us, right? And at ISE, nobody knew who we were.
Yeah.
So nobody was coming to see us. I think by the end of the show, on Thursday, Friday, you really started hearing, some people told me I had to come check you guys out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want to see, right? We want to become that destination booth where everybody's got to stop by and see what's going on at HETMA.
Agreed, Dustin?
Well, I mean, you look at what HETMA has done at Infocomm, from the initial save the date cards being handed around to the little banquet we used to do, to a little 20 by 20 booth, and now 2-story booth with a live DJ, and growing even bigger this year, and the education summit. Just what we've been able to accomplish in the last 4 to 5 years at Infocomm. I think you're going to see that at ISE probably quicker now, though. We're dialing everything in. We're figuring out what we need to do, and all of our different pain points. So I think you're going to see basically what we're doing at Infocomm over at ISE within the next couple of years.
Yeah.
2-story booth, who knows?
It was really cool too to watch the community and see the requests for membership come from people, who are finding out about Meet Us and joining the community, from places across Europe and beyond, which is cool. And it started to give me this thought of a future where, there's some of us coming over from the States, but the building and the ownership of what happens at ISE will come from members of Europe. You know what I'm saying? People there who are picking up the mantle, who, we're 8 hours off of in time, and that's not that big a deal because they're going that way, and then vice versa. Then they're coming over to Infocomm and building those sorts of things. Like, HETMA is such an organic organization, right? It is of the willing, by the willing. It is by us and for us, that to almost I don't know if you guys think of it this way, but I was, some of the people we saw that were starting to get it and starting to show interest and starting to go I want to figure out how to do this. I want to, turn me loose. There's things I think we can really get done here to go what it would be like to watch another HETMA grow up organically was this kind of fun. So putting that out there, this is the kind of $1 million question. And again, you guys aren't prepped for it, but how would you see then the management and support of the growth of HETMA into a true global organization? What do we need to be doing to enable, 3 or 5 years from now for us to be looking back going, this really is truly something we can say is a global organization?
I think a couple of really short-term things that, I plan to discuss here at this board meeting we're going to have later today. Localization, so languages on the website. I don't believe that exists right now. We need to get that fixed. Just areas for different places to talk to, getting events and things set up in the European time zone, right? We do the lunch and learns in America, that they can't lunch and learn with us at that time. So, figure out how to get, content over to them that makes sense. I think one of my favorite ideas that came up at ISE, and I really hope we can look forward to planning next year, is a 24-hour virtual conference that starts in Ireland and Europe, and their happy hour runs into our morning coffee, and then we just roll. And I think that's a pretty exciting idea. And maybe we can swap some experts around and have some people presenting in the middle of the night or early in the morning. I think that kind of cooperation is what I'm really excited about. With this growth.
I love it. So like we can say the theme for next year is the sun never sets on higher ed or something like that, and we just run it all the way around. I love that.
Yeah, I love it. That sounds great.
Dustin, from your point of view, like what are you thinking about from what your path in the organization and what you're going to do, or what do we need to be doing to make this a true global organization?
I think we're on the right path. Big thing is empowering the right people to take and lead. I mean, we've got Justin leading up the EMEA, letting him build out a team to fully take and run with it. I mean, it's really what we did, in the U.S. We empower the right people in the right positions to take and run with stuff. And I think that's the key over there too. They know the cultures over there. They know the people, that right contacts, the manufacturers, the end users. They're able to, speak the right languages, so to speak, so that they know exactly what to talk about. And, our pain points here in the U.S. are different than what Justin's facing in Ireland. So I think empowering the right people is the key.
Yeah, I love that. To say there's ways we can ease things forward, but it is a grassroots organization's got to continue to be grassroots. And I think the flip side, Dustin, of empowering people is making sure people know, in HETMA, it's not you can do pretty much anything that you want to pick up and own. You know what I'm saying? We will turn you loose. If you're listening to this and thinking, I need to know what I'm allowed or what I can do. The answer is this. If you want to pick it up and run with it, we will find a way to get you what you need to do it. And that has been sort of, I think, the story of HETMA here. When people figure that part out, especially, you work in a higher ed institution every day that may be governed by policies and governance and there's layers of what you can and can't do. And you have to ask permission for this thing and that thing. This is your chance to throw that paradigm off and pick it up and run with it. So if you're listening and you're thinking, yeah, I could pick it up and run with it, let us know. We will help you do that. And I don't have the power to tell you that, but I feel free to do it anyway. So there you go. This is just another example of how that part would work. So, well, I would turning now real quick to we get back from ISE, finishing things up. Everybody's, Troy said he got back to 1,600 emails, right? We're getting back to our regular day jobs, while everybody else over there who was there for work, we came back to our regular jobs that weren't happening during that time. But we pivot very quickly from there to our virtual conference, which is if you want to think about something that's, as a modality very different, but as a purpose very similar, we're switching and moving over to that really quickly. And if you're listening to this on the morning it comes out, it means it's Wednesday morning. It's the first morning of the conference. It is not too late to sign up. It is free. Get registered and hop in. There's going to be some great sessions in it. So in closing, guys, what are you looking forward to in terms of our virtual conference this year, and why is that worth your time as well?
I mean, I love the virtual conference. It's been kind of my baby for the past couple of years. This is, Ann Kelly, should now running the show over there. So, and we've changed up the format a little bit this year. So there's not going to be competing sessions like there have been in the past, right? So we were able to pour more into the actual main sessions, this year. So I love the conference because it's different than other things, right? Infocomm, they call for presenters, you put in your topic. Maybe they like it, maybe they don't, you get accepted, whatever. We do it different, where we pick the topics that we want to learn about and then ask the people who know about that to teach us. And I think there's a lot of value in that, right? Because it's what your peers want to learn about, not what somebody wants to talk about, right? So I think there's value in that. The conference, it's one of those things where some sessions are so interactive and some sessions aren't. And I think there's a lot of value in that. I think the reason they get interactive is maybe the same reason they aren't interactive. Because the topic is engaging for different reasons, right? You get a great speaker who seems real knowledgeable, and you just want to hear him talk, and you get somebody else who gets you thinking, and you want to ask a lot of questions. And I think the great thing about the HETMA conference is it's kind of open to both of those things, and we'll be as interactive as you want to be, and we'll let you just kind of sit and linger if you want to do that too. Everything's recorded. We have them all all posted in posterity on our community. We've got the last 3 or 4 years of them on the website now. So it's a great event.
Dustin?
I echo what Troy said. This is the only conference that I will attend that I actually enjoy every session that's going to be there. I'm part of the, anybody can be part of the events committee that helps, organize this conference. So all of our thoughts, went into planning every one of the sessions,
I was just saying, it's got that for us, by us feel, right? Like you said, it's not going to a conference that's something broader and then you're looking for the sessions that look particularly applicable. It is by purpose designed to be applicable to our peers, to our vertical. Cool. And the other thing I love about, I was thinking about this too, is as we talk about like ISE, HETMA being global, a big part of HETMA is also being local and, having road shows and having presence, and this idea that, I'm sure there are people listening who think, great, I should go to ISE. Great, I can't even get to Infocomm. My place won't send me anywhere. And to go, like, our virtual conference is virtual. It was before virtual was cool for that reason. That is open to everybody. It's free, accessible to everybody. And even if, you don't get to travel to national things, we will bring this conference to you, and we will continue to work on bringing local events to you so that, even as we try to grow the community at large, we maintain the fabric of the community, where people are. So I don't know. I'm pumped about it too. It's a very different thing. Dustin, you're right. It's one of those that like the conflicts I have in my calendar over the next 3 days, like you do everything I can to try and get those things canceled because I don't want to miss out on any part of it, because you never know which session will have that discussion, will have that spontaneous thing that really, that really connects in. So, all right, I'm looking forward to being there with you guys. Thank you for talking about ISE and dreaming about the future of what this could look like. As we close here, gents, how would people find find you, get connected, and if they wanted to reach out to you?
LinkedIn is probably the best way. Troy.powers@northwestern.edu is my email. So feel free to reach out.
LinkedIn, the HETMA community, emails dustin.myers@jalc.edu or approvedprogram@hetma.org.
All right. And I'd encourage everybody to reach out to them on both of those places. If you're not in the approved channel in the back end, join in. You know what I'm saying? There's great opportunities there and great opportunities coming. And looking forward to having both you gents back on the show for the full episode and putting you through the ringer of my very intense questionnaire. You know what I'm saying? But I think we probably need to be a little better rested before we do that one. You know what I'm saying? Cool. Well, thank you, gents, for joining me today. Really appreciate it. And for everybody listening, we are back. We are going to have content for you every Wednesday. And make sure, if you are not signed up, that you are registering for the HETMA conference right this minute.
Thank you for listening to the AV IT Amplifier. Join us again for next week's episode when we'll welcome a new guest who you'll want to hear from. We promise. Your host has been Ryan Gray. He's on the tweeters at Ryan_A_Gray, or find him on LinkedIn to connect. Please subscribe and give the show a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. This show is brought to you by HigherEdAV.com. The views expressed here are not necessarily those of our respective institutions, employers, or sponsors. Everyone hang in there, go easy, and we'll be back next week.